Hello everyone, my name is Rafael Abraha. So last time we ran some scans against the target machine and we found out that there were some vulnerabilities on the system. The vulnerability I would like to address, particularly in this case, would be the Telnet service. Now, Telnet is a network protocol that provides insecure access to networks, to computers over a network. It is used to connect to remote systems over TCP/IP networks. Now, Telnet is vulnerable to sniffing attacks because it sends usernames and password in clear text, meaning that credentials are not encrypted. So, if an attacker gets a control of your network, they could capture Telnet credentials and use sniffing tools like Wireshark or TCP dump. It can also be vulnerable to attacks when it uses default or weak credentials or lacks authentication for access. Now, those weak credentials can be brute forced. So, when we ran our scan last time on OpenVAS, we did notice that there were some default credentials being used in some cases, and some there were also, we got also an output that said weak credentials. So with that in mind, and with the fact that the Telnet service is installed on that target machine, we are going to see how this vulnerability can be exposed or exploited. So we're going to use Metasploit, and to do that, I'm going to open my terminal, and I have confirmed that my target machine is up and running and I have established connection with it already. So I will use the MSF console command to get into Metasploit. So I am in Metasploit as you can see. Now I'll use this Telnet login module called auxiliary. Now this auxiliary will allow me to take a list of provided credentials and a range of IP addresses, and it attempts to log in to any Telnet servers that it encounters pretty much. So let me go ahead and run that. Paste it here. There it is. Now we can see what options we have by typing show options. And in this case, what we're going to do is we're gonna set the user file and set the password file and the our hosts. We're gonna use some common default Linux usernames and passwords, and we're gonna try to use those to get access to the system pretty much. So before I proceed, I'm gonna open another terminal tab and I'm gonna create those text files. So in this case, I will go ahead and type in cat user.txt. I'm creating it on the desktop directory, as you can see, and I'm going to dump some common usernames on that text file. So those usernames are MSF admin, user, service, and SYS. Hit enter. And I'm going to do the same thing for the pass file that I will create. Cat pass.txt. Hit enter. Paste those same credentials. Now I'm going to come back to my Metasploit terminal. And over here, firstly, I'm going to set the R host to the IP address of the target machine. So I run the set our host command against the IP address. And from there, I'm going to set the user file to the text file I created. There it is. And I'll do the same thing for the pass file as well. Now to confirm, we can run the show options command again, and we can see that our host is set to the IP address of the target machine. We see the user text file over here and the password text file over here. So in that case, we will start exploiting by typing exploit. There it is. Now already we see that the command that, the credentials that work are the MSF admin, MSF add for username, and same thing MSF admin for password. All of the other ones did fail, as we can see, but we did get a successful login with MSF admin. So that means this is the common default username and password that the target machine is using. So this is a vulnerability itself. So from here, we can even take it a step further, and we are going to use Telnet to remote into that system. So I'll run telnet.7.1.10.7.1.100, and I would run the MSF admin username and password. As you can see, I was able to establish a session. So now I am remoted into that system. From here, we can even take it a step further, and we can harvest our credentials by going to the etc shadow files to get all the password hashes. And to do that, I'm going to run the cat backslash show backslash etc backslash show command. Or maybe I need to be an admin. Okay, now let me run it again. There we go. So we do see all the password hashes that we have over here. And in this case, I'm going to specifically take the hash that has red team 7, student 1. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to open another terminal. Another tab on the terminal, and I'm gonna create, let me exit out of here. I'm gonna use the leaf pad and create a hash file, txt, and I'm gonna dump the hash that I got on there, and I'm going to save it. And now I'm going to use John the Ripper to decrypt that hash. Now this will take some time, so let's wait on it. Now it did take some time, but we do see that the password for the hash file is here, and it says 9W. And from here, we can even take it a step further, and we can exfiltrate whatever important data there is on the target machine. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So I'm going to stop this. CD. Okay. So I'm going to get into the red team 7. Type in CD, red. And redo that again. CD, red team 7. And from here, I'll do ls. And I see a text file for student 1, and that is where I'm going to go to. So CD student 1. And let's see what we have in student 1. And there's a text file called my pass, and we can see what is within this text file by using the cat command. So doing cat my pass.txt, and we see here another file. And from here, we can even download a file out of the network if we really want to by, for example, executing an M interpreter payload, but I'm not going to do that in this case. So overall, we see that Telnet is a vulnerability because, like we mentioned earlier, it is a service that sends usernames and passwords in clear text, which means it's unencrypted. So it is not a service that is being used anymore. And it is recommended that this remote service is replaced by Secure Shell Host or SSH, and it should be uninstalled or removed uh, from that target machine so that we can mitigate or completely eradicate